Phenomenal morning. Phenomenal morning. Phenomenal morning. Listen, guys, I just want to give you guys a shout out real quick, man. Like, pat yourself on the back, guys. Like, literally, like, if you can reach it, like, pat yourself on the back because I appreciate your presence. Let me just say that. Like, I'm super appreciative, super grateful this morning, Bobby. You know, I was on a call right before this talking about economics and business. I love business, guys. I promise you, like, I love business. There's a different passion that I have for business. I was teaching the people that I was on a call with about business. And let me just read out some stats. Bobby, is it okay if I read out some stats, man?
I'm super excited. I love stats.
Can I put some stats out? Guys, listen to this. You got to love business. So according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, so this is the BLS, data from the BLS shows that approximately 20% of new businesses fail in the first 2 years of being open. 20%.
Mm-hmm.
We about to have some fun this morning. Like, you're gonna be like, oh my God. I'm gonna give you an MBA real quick. I want you to understand this. 20% of new businesses fail in the first 2 years of being open. 45% during the first 5 years. 45%. So 100 businesses open up. In the first 2 years, 80 of them are there. That's it. 20% are gone. The families of those people, the homes of those people, the cars of those people, the loans of those people, all of those things. We don't know. But watch this. 45% are gone in the first 5 years. So out of 100, 65 are left in the first 5 years. And watch the numbers reverse. 65 are left. Out of the 65 that are left, 65% in the first 10 years wiped out. So if you only got 100 businesses in the first 10 years, 35 are left. That's it. 35. Follow the numbers, guys. Is it okay if you follow the numbers? Is it too early?
Not at all.
Is it too early? Okay, so 35 are left in the first 10 years. And after 15 years, only 25% out of 100 still remain. 75 businesses have collapsed. 75 families. 75 families. How many employees of those businesses have been wrecked? How many children of employees have had to leave their homes, leave their schools? Watch dad lose the car, mom lose the car get repossessed, the house get repossessed, foreclosures. Guys, listen, we about to give, I haven't even begun yet. I just wanted to set the stage.
Yeah.
I just set the stage. That's what I did. I set the stage. I put the plate down. Do you guys want to sit down and eat? Bobby, you want a plate?
I would love a plate.
Would you love a plate?
Yes, sir.
How about you guys? Put it in the chat. You guys want a plate? I got a plate for you. Listen. I haven't even begun to scratch the surface. So 20% of new businesses fail in the first 2 years, 45% in the first 5 years, 65% in the first 10 years. Now let's go a little bit deeper. See how deep this rabbit hole go. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, same place, the BLS, consistently reports that a third of new businesses close their businesses in the first 2 years and half exit in their first 5 years. For Black businesses, the margin is even slimmer. 8 out of 10 Black-owned businesses fail in the first 18 months. In the first 18 months, 8 out of 10 are gone. So if you're here trying to build your business, like, give yourself some love, man. I'll applaud you. I'm serious. Like, I'll applaud you this morning because what you're trying to do is just trying to swim against the grain. You're trying to become a salmon as opposed to all of the other fish of the sea. So God bless you, man. God bless your business.
100%. 100%, because this brings me back to a statistic that I was studying a little while ago about why. I saw someone put in the comment section, and please, like, if StreamYard doesn't know that, like, if you haven't allowed them to project your name, please do that if you can, because we can't see you, but we will definitely try to shout you out if we know who you are. But I do see in the comments, one person said, the operative question is why? And I was doing a study on this, and one of the biggest reasons is cash flow. Yeah. And that's why I think sales is one of the most important skill sets you can have in business, you know. And with online business, things have gotten really interesting because you have to not only be able to sell in some cases, but to be able to close. And closing is where you can actually sell or get large sums of revenue in. You know, I don't know what the actual threshold is, but I believe the last time I looked at it, they were saying you can sell online without ever having to see someone, maybe upwards of $499. Like someone might just click through that. But once you start getting to like four figures, like $1,000, $1,500 and more, people want to talk to somebody. Like they want to be on the phone or at least see someone. But to kind of sum my piece up, the cash flow is interesting because a lot of people get into business, in my experience, for all the wrong reasons. For all the wrong reasons. They get into business
come on, man,
with the assumption that they're gonna like make money right off the bat. And what I tell my clients is that business is one of the riskiest, most aggressive ways to lose a lot of money.
Woo.
It's the riskiest and most aggressive way to lose a lot of money. So if you are in this thing to make money, I have literally told people this: keep your job. You'll make more money there safely. Now, if you're willing to risk and you're willing to take a risk for a purpose bigger than your job can provide, then you might have the wherewithal for this. So that's just my piece. I know we're going to unfold this, and I think we're probably even coming up for a break, but I just wanted to put that out there. I wrote some things down that we can unfold on, but yeah, the word that comes to mind is adulting. That might be what I talk about.
Adulting. I love it. I love it. So listen, guys, you know, one of the things that I hear a lot, I want to make as much money as I can, as fast as I can, to do what I want, when I want, where I want. That's a lot of people's motivation to get into business. I want to do what I want, when I want, where I want. And I want to make enough money to do that. But like Bobby just said, think about my goal. My goal is to help you make as much money as you want so you can do what you want, when you want, where you want. Not me, because I'm here serving you this morning for free. I just want you to think about that. Let's grow. We'll be right back. It's The Breakfast with the Brand. There's slow growth, and then there's scale. There's incremental growth, and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 + 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 + 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 + 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 + 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a zero to you, you can add a zero to the marketplace. You can add a zero to the value that you bring. So you can add a zero to your family, add a zero to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a zero. Add a zero to your competence, add a zero to your confidence. This is about adding a zero in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Ah, yes. So I hope you guys went through the morning half, guys. If you're like hashtag replay squad. If you're coming into this call right now, I want you to take this back. Like if you're coming right now, like I want you to take it back and see the intro where I drop some statistics on businesses that survive, and then specifically Black-owned businesses. So I want you to do the numbers. You got to know your numbers. You got to know where you exist. Because if you don't know where you exist, you won't understand the importance, or you won't understand the honor and the privilege of going into business. And then you got to look at your motives. You have to examine your motives, because you will be one of the 8 out of 10 that lose your shirt if you're just coming to get a few new shirts. If you're just here to get a car or a new home, and you don't have a real deep-seated why and some who's driving why you're in business, you will, I guarantee this, you will not stick around. You will not have sticking power. Now, if you have a bigger picture, a bigger vision, a bigger heart, a bigger idea, then yes, you might make it to one of the 2 out of 10 that survive past 18 months. And then even one of the 80% that survived 2 years, one of the 65% that survived 5 years, and one of the 65% or no, 45% that survived 10, 35% that survived 10. But you can't do it with a small vision. That's not possible, because what the numbers tell you is that you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit. It is I don't want to say a slaughterhouse. It's a slugfest. It's a slugfest. So you're going to take some hits. Now I want you to think real quick, because we're about to go somewhere today. I want you to think, out of the percentages of businesses that continue to exist, and this is a little bit of a cynical question, how many of them do you think exist debt-free? Because when you're laden with debt, as most of you probably know, you're living and existing for someone else.
You know, as that question sits in, I was doing some homework last night, and as you all know, the brand here, we thrive on education. We love it. We're always pushing the boundaries of our knowledge in our industry and field. And in my field of finance, I was studying ratios. Now, we're not going to dive too much into ratios, but ratios, you have vertical analysis and horizontal analysis. And this is just for your vocabulary, right? So in horizontal analysis, we're looking at increases and decreases of usually sums of money. In vertical analysis, and that's normally over time, like we're looking at things over time. And with vertical analysis, we're looking at percentages. And we're normally looking at percentages between industries and stuff like that. So what does this have to do with leverage? So most people that I see get hit with the debt piece and the leverage piece and just get mollywopped is that they don't understand. They do not understand finance. And finance is interesting because if you do it right, it loves you back. If you do it wrong, it buries you alive.
Woo!
It's unforgiving. It is
Yeah.
unforgiving. Debt is not one of those things that's just like you go to bankruptcy court 7 years. They want your head for 7 years.
So make a late payment in 7 years.
Credit destroyed. Like they'll send you those letters in the mail like, hey, you've missed X amount of payments. We want it all now. Or we will concede to legal action and at your expense. Have fun getting one of those at your expense. So my piece on that, but before we probably go to the next segue is that when you I'll just talk about me. I've had 4 businesses. I was the 8 out of 10 in 3 of those. So I want to talk to you guys about me being the 8 out of 10. Just very briefly, what that looked like for me. So my first business was the music industry. My second was personal finance. And my third was bookkeeping in the trucking industry. So in California, I was in the music industry. And I failed there because I did not have the capital or the industry insights. In other words, I needed a coach and I needed capital. I didn't have either. So in business, you have a lot of gatekeepers. You have a lot of people that control what moves and how it moves. These can be DJs sometimes. These can be promoters sometimes, like club. These can be
janky promoters. Go ahead.
the janky
Payola under the table.
And like you want to get in here, especially if you're like 21 or something like that, or I mean under 21, and you're trying to get into the club, build your career. Like there's a lot of gatekeepers. So in that industry, I tried my hand there and I failed because I did not understand barriers to entry. So that was one thing. Boom. My next business, personal finance. I failed in personal finance, and this has all a moral to the story. I failed in personal finance because I didn't understand ideal client dynamics. Impacts and economics. I didn't know how impactful your ideal client was and understanding them. So I kept attracting clients that couldn't pay me. Guys, this is like the bare bones minimum. Like if you are getting into business that 3rd year, 4th year, or even that 2nd year, you're still trying to figure it out. 1, do you know how to navigate your industry? Like, are you connected with someone who has successfully done it? And 2, do you have enough capital to exist there? So that was failure number 1. So if you're struggling right now, ask that question. Number 2 for me was not understanding my ideal client. So I was attracting people that could not pay me, or they couldn't pay me enough.
Repeat that again, Bobby. Repeat that again for the people down the block around the corner waking up a little tired.
In the personal finance piece, I was attracting people that couldn't pay me because I was trying to treat a for-profit organization like a nonprofit. I was out there trying to help the needy. But
and you was the needy.
I was the needy. And the thing about the needy, they tend to be greedy. The thing about the needy is they tend to be greedy. You give them a little bit, they're like, they want it all, right? For nothing, for pennies. And so that cost me my second business. And then my third business was leadership. I was in a partnership. And it was a previous Marine. We served together. We have been roommates for a while, and we're still friends to this day. But I didn't know how to lead, and he didn't know how to lead me per se. Like we were in a partnership, and we just didn't know enough about business and business leadership and dynamics, the visionary, integrator. Like we couldn't figure it out. So we ended up failing there. So the last piece that I would say to my third failed business was a lack of leadership acumen, a lack of business acumen, and the ability to actually navigate the building of a business. And I say all of that to say this: knowledge is power, 100%. But you have to execute on the knowledge that you have in order for it to be power. I guess you could say knowledge is potential, but power is executing on the knowledge that you have. And that's my piece. That's my piece on just failed businesses being 8 out of the 10, because I was 8 out of the 10 3 times over before I got it right with the 400% revenue growth back to back, exponentially scaling and growing my business.
Listen, guys. So let's ask the question, why? All of these businesses are going out of business. Why? Why are they going out of business? What does that really look like? What causes? Wouldn't you like to know the reason why? I mean, I'd like to know the reason why. I mean, it's pretty like important, I think, right? If you're trying to go into business, to know why and how. So if you know why, then you might learn how. You might be able to infer how it might not happen to you. And is there a difference between a business and a brand? Is there a difference? Now just think. Bobby got it right the 4th time, right? It's 4th time. So Bobby got it right the 4th time. And the first thing he did was the first program he did this time coming out in the ring. And you're like, like I applaud people who lose and come back for more. I applaud people who lose and come back for more, because you got guts, you got tenacity, you got grit, you got staying power. You're not going to give up. You can't be a quitter. You cannot be a quitter and expect to succeed. The only thing you could quit is bad habits and bad people and bad relationships. But you got to quitters never win and winners never quit in business. So the first program that he took was Branded Like a Leader. He learned how to brand himself so that he was no longer a brick and mortar LLC. He was a click and order personality. Listen to me, guys. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. So one of the reasons why businesses fail, one of the primary reasons why businesses fail, is what Bobby said: no capital. No capital. You have no money. None. Very little. And then the things that you're learning are insufficient to support the beginning of a business. You don't have a long-term vision. You're just trying to get money quick. I just want to make some money. But short money doesn't equal long money. So there's a word called sustainability that people don't know the definition of. Sustainability means to do something consistently and repeatedly over a long span of time so that it remains. Markets fluctuate. Stocks are up and down. What worked yesterday won't work today. But what stays and what remains as the market fluctuates? You know what stays and what remains while the markets fluctuate? So let's talk about the Depression. Let's talk about the Depression and multiple recessions. We've gone through multiple depressions, multiple recessions in the past 50 years. Would everybody agree? 50 years. You know what's been a consistency? You know what's been a constant throughout the entire fluctuating up and down market? McDonald's. McDonald's has been a consistent throughout the fluctuating market because it's more than a business. It's a brand. McDonald's is a brand. Brands mean more than transaction. I can remember. Now, who would agree with me that McDonald's probably doesn't make the very best hamburger in the world? There's probably a choice that there's a chance, just a slim chance, that it might not make the best hamburger in the world or the most healthy hamburger in the world. It just might not have those ingredients. However, I can remember me playing in the jungle gym in McDonald's. And I can remember, and I don't do this anymore. I'm not telling you to go do it, but I can remember having my children play in McDonald's before I became a little bit more health conscious, right? But I just want you to think, what more can you provide with your brand than just the transactional value?
Mm-hmm.
See, my mother was probably stressed out dealing with something because money wasn't right. Business wasn't right. It's hard to understand. So we live in a culture of stress and overwhelm, but she got some relief because she was able to go sit down and have a little meal while Sean was able to go play. And I was having fun. So I want you to think of what additionally can you provide in your business to create a brand experience? Because the brand will sustain if it's built to be sustainable. Because people won't come for the transaction. They'll come for the value. People don't go for the food. They come for the value, the experience. When I go somewhere with my wife to go sit down and eat, I don't really, you could buy food anywhere. Everywhere has food. What we're looking for is the experience. We're looking for the ambiance, the architecture, the aesthetic, the smiles, the customer service. I'm looking for somebody to pull the chair out for my wife and give us that kind of that touch. Mr. Rais, welcome back. It's the ambiance that creates the pull, guys. Pull. You want gravity marketing. You want gravity marketing. You want something that's going to pull, something that's going to attract your ideal client and make you the only viable option in your vertical. Because everybody teaches what you teach. There are no new ideas. What there are new ways of implementing and communicating new ideas. But the new technology is the new technology. Once the new technology hits the market, it becomes old technology within the same second. And that's why what worked yesterday won't work tomorrow. And it probably won't work today. And that's why capital stays small. Because you haven't found the brand yet. You haven't hit upon the brand experience that creates and cultivates customer loyalty. Most people are out here striving to get customer acquisition. Sales. Sales don't solve sales problems, guys. Money don't solve money problems. I promise you it doesn't. The only thing you're going to get is very, very tired and very, very frustrated, thinking that the next sale is going to solve the sale after that. It's not. Never has, never will. The great myth in the market is that money solves money problems. It does not. You have to eat today, but you got to build a system. You got to build a system that helps you to eat tomorrow. And we'll be right back. I'm trying to go a little bit deeper with you guys. I hope you appreciate it. And I hope you're taking a whole lot of notes, because this will be the difference. This will be the deciding factor between whether you're here tomorrow or next year or the year after that, or you're the one trying to explain to the kids why the car's leaving without you in it. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is. so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Woo.
Man, with everything that we're talking about this morning, I just want to help. I just want to help the people this morning. I want to help the people, like brands. You've all probably heard websites tell, but stories sell. Guys, I want to, let's go for a walk. Let's go for a walk. As my coach would say, let's take a trip. But I say, let's go for a walk. So I would like you all to follow me back down mankind's lineage, like the origin of human beings. For those of you all that know, we're about 6 million years old. The human species, like the species of human beings, have been around, or there can be traced back to about 6 million years, like the first human specimen. Now, the modern human that we're familiar with today has been around for about 200,000 years, about 200,000 years. Now, here's something very interesting. Evolution is a process. It's a process. It builds on itself. And as things evolve, the origin of the evolution acts almost like an anchor, like the thing that everything is built on top of. Everything expands from that. Now, where are we going with this? What's all this got to do with the brand? Well, language, the actual speaking of words, is about 200,000 years old. Okay, it's about 200,000 years old. But if the human species, that which all of this stuff has been built on, is about 6 million years old, how did they communicate before they had language, words? They communicated through mirror neurons and other visual skills. In other words, emotion. That's how we communicated. We saw the emotion on the face of other people, and we started to understand frustration. We started to understand anger. We started to understand impatience. We started to understand fear. We started to understand love, compassion, peace. And as we developed these mirror neurons, our ability to perceive and replicate, we then started to develop the capacity for reciprocity, to give and receive. What's the golden rule? Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. That comes from that base concept, that base human species way of communicating. So when we talk about branding, why branding is so effective, I wrote down a business with a brand is a business that stands. You know, it stands the test of time. And the reason I believe this is because brands more effectively communicate to the subconscious natural nature of the human being far more than words ever could. See, the interesting thing about words, and this is really to just help you think about why the brand works, why the brand's important, and how you can stay in business. Because if you're just getting into business for the money, like if you're just getting into business to tell a cool story and get people to pay you, you're likely going to have to talk it. They say walk it like you talk it, but you might just be talking it, but you might not be able to walk it. And the thing about talking is words have connotations and denotations. And the denotation is kind of like the definition of the word. The connotation is the energy and the feeling that the word evokes. And a lot of times words kind of tell, but stories sell, because human beings, we are visual. We used to think in shapes, not words. We thought in images. We thought in feelings. And I'll tie it up with this so that you can really just start thinking about your business differently. Like, this isn't to be some groundbreaking aha moment. This is to be a step back. Like, take a step back and say, how does my business emotionally connect with my ideal client? If there's no emotional connection, then there's probably no sale, because sales is a transference of feeling. And if you can't transfer the feeling that you have or the vision that you have, you can't compel or attract or repel. You simply exist. You're just there. And they
Just
say
talking.
just talking. You confuse, you lose. And a lot of people are confused by the words, because what you denote is not what they connotate, so to speak. Like, you might have a definition of something, but they're not receiving it the way you're saying it. So that's message to market mismatch, or a lack of message to market fit. And the fastest way that I know to short circuit that entire process and get exactly what you want the first time is to emote effectively. And brands do that. So that's just what I wanted to give you, just a way to kind of think different.
Clinical. It's great to see someone become a specialist. It's phenomenal to see someone be clueless and go from clueless to having an idea. Rudimentary, like just from clueless to clue. It's fun to see the process from clueless to clue, and then to generalist. Very important. Generalist, you know a little bit about a lot. You know a little bit about a lot of different stuff. And then go from being a generalist to a specialist. I was speaking on a call this morning, and I told the people that I was speaking to, I said, listen, and I'm saying this morning like it's not 7 o'clock still, right? So how early was that? That's how early we get up and get to work, just so that we're clear. The ones who win in business probably wake up a lot earlier than you might think you need to survive in business. I just wanted to add a little bit of breadth and depth to that statement before it's just passes over the minds of the listeners. What I said was this. I said, there's what you see and there's what's really happening. There's what you think is going on, and then there's what's really happening. And that's why I wanted to break down the businesses and the breakdown of the businesses for you this morning, so you can understand the numbers and understand the game, the ring that you're about to get into. Understand the ring that you're getting into, because there are no easy losses in business. It's extremely emotional, extremely harsh. So we appreciate a lot of people's, how do you say, intentions to get into business. But we know where most good intentions lead to, don't we? Just want to be real clear on this. Like, most good intentions are the pathways to Hades. They don't lead to the motherland. The motherland is a arduous process, beladen with snare, attack, assault, and you have to lay the path with discipline, tenacity, patience, understanding, and a profound desire for learning. A profound desire for continuous education. You have to learn, because the stairway from novice or clueless to clue to general practitioner to expert with specialization is one beladen with multiple competencies that you have to learn. You have to learn multiple competencies, because some of the reasons, let me give you a little bit more of why the reasons why businesses fail. So we started this call about businesses failing and what the statistics look like. Here are a lot of reasons. Number one, lack of planning. Just doing stuff. You're just talking. Number two, insufficient capital. No money. You don't understand what it takes. Number three, failure to deliver real value. Rough one. How do you survive? How do you spring back from that? 4, poor management. So you know what you should be doing, hypothetically, but you're not doing it. Number 5, lack of experience. You don't know what you're doing. You have an idea of what you should be doing, but you've never done it before. You don't know how to prevent the failure because it's never happened to you before. This is called learning on the fly. It's very painful. Ask me how I know. Number 7, poor marketing. What was Bobby just saying about the message to market fit? If you don't have that, if you don't know who you're talking to, if you can't emote, if you can't relate, if you can't transfer the feeling, then you're just talking. I want you to ask yourself a real question. How am I just talking? Am I just talking to hear myself? Are you going live just to hear yourself? Are you having what is supposed to be a closing call or a discovery call or a strategy session just to talk? Or are you actually transferring the feeling and the emotion and imparting the vision and closing the deal? The best that you are at this part. So the marketing gets them in, the branding keeps them there. The marketing brings them in, the branding keeps them there. But between the marketing and the branding, there's a very specific skill set that's needed. And that's the close. You have to close the deal. If you're not closing the deal, then we go back to insufficient capital. You can look back. Watch this. You can look back to insufficient, or you can look forward. You have to look back first to ineffective leadership. Because you as the leader, you as the business owner, it's your job to either provide or hire the core competencies needed for business success. You have to provide or hire. And trust me, if you don't have it, you can't teach it. So you can't afford to hire it. Please understand, like, you cannot afford to hire what you don't have until you acquire the funds from actually learning at least the foundational core competencies to bring in sufficient revenue to then hire it out. A lot of people want teams so they don't have to work, Bobby.
Right.
A lot of people trying to hire. Oh, watch this. It just came to me, guys. Are you trying to hire or hide?
Oh.
Are you trying to hire or hide your own efficiencies and things that you can't do? But the reason why you can't do that is because in order to effectively hire, you need effective leadership. Hence, branded like a leader, coaching like a leader, speaking like a leader. You have to infuse everything that you do with leadership. Because if you don't, it won't work. It just won't work. And for 4 years, you'll have a job and you'll think you'll be in business, and you'll be thinking that you're in business, but you're not. You're not. So business means profit. Just so we're extremely clear, business means profit, which means you have revenue in excess of what you invest and in excess of operating cost and procedure, like cost to exist. There's a cost to exist. There's food. Like you need food, you need nourishment. The business needs overhead. The business needs electricity. The business needs a CRM. The business needs these things that can become very expensive. And most people are ineffective at acquiring the capital fast enough in quantities high enough to remain sustainable in business. And this is why businesses fail. I just want you to think about where you're at in that. Like, where do you exist? Where do you sit on the fence? Where are the gaps? Is the gap inefficient capital? Because if the gap is inefficient capital, you need to make sales, but sales doesn't solve sales problems. What solves sales problems is marketing. So this is going a little bit deep. I try to stay a little bit generalized, but I'm gonna go a little bit deep with you real quick. The better at marketing you are, you don't have to be as good at sales. The better a marketer you are, the least effective that you have to be in your sales process. So if you're not a closer, you better be a good marketer to keep leads coming in consistently. So some of them close and you're able to stay alive. If you're an inefficient marketer, you got to be a closer, like for real, for real. Because if you're not a closer, if you're not closing the little bit of leads that come in, you're out of business. And that's a guarantee.
100.
And if you don't have a brand, they can come, but they won't stay. And you'll never be able to add a zero to your prices. So your prices will be low because you don't have the brand strength to charge competitive prices for your value. And you can't communicate your value if you don't have a brand. People drive past stores all day. But when you got kids in the car, you're going to pull over at McDonald's at some point or another because they see the brand.
Ooh, yes.
The kids see the brand. You're not thinking about McDonald's. You're just driving. Kids beating on the windows. Mommy, daddy.
Fries.
Take me to the brand. Take me to the brand.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, you know what you got to pay for the rest of the day. Hades. Because they demand the brand. So is your brand in demand? Or is your brand on the sidelines, catching nosebleeds in the stands?
Oh, that's crazy. Is your brand on demand? Oh my goodness.
What is the value that you impart? And how do you communicate it? We want to leave you with things to think about. We want to bring you fire, truth, and leave you with things to think about so you can close the gaps. And if you need help closing those gaps, this is why we exist. Like, this is why we exist. I help people close those gaps: branding, coaching, closing, speaking, consulting, so that you can really begin to learn what it takes and acquire those core competencies to survive in business, so you become one of the 2 out of the 8. Because everybody else got a sad story, and you don't want your story to be a sad one. This is the Breakfast with the Brand. If you've got the guts, if you're still around, we'll see you tomorrow. Let's grow.